Hi, I'm Eric Rodriguez with your Fort Cavazos Public Affairs Office. On this week's episode of the Great Big Podcast, we're talking about the Retiree Appreciation Day and Retiree Council. That and so much more on this week's Great Big Podcast. Welcome back to the Great Big Podcast, everyone. So today we're going to get down with our first guest. Sir, I know who you are, but please go ahead and introduce yourself to all of our listeners here on the Great Big Podcast and tell us a little bit about your Army story.
Awesome. I shall. My name's Michael Ryan. I'm a retired Brigadier General. Served 30 years in the military. I'm a tanker. Started off in Germany. Ended up in Germany. Spent about 15 years of my 30 plus years that I have been in the Army in Germany, and the other 15 here, and you have to minus schools and other little things back and forth from there. I retired out of Heidelberg, Germany, where I served as the Deputy Corps Commander for 5th Corps and the Acting Corps Commander for 5th Corps for the whole time I was there. I've deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan 4 times, 2 places in each place. Afghanistan was the last deployment that I was on over there. Earlier operational deployment that I had was in Bosnia back in 98 to 99. I spent quite a few years in the 1st Cav here. I was a company commander when it was 2nd Armored Division here over in 367 Armor, which was on the east side of the post back in the day. That ended up being 4th ID at some point. And then when I came back, I commanded 1/8 Cav Battalion, Tank Battalion, and then I was the G3 of 1st Cav, and then after wandering around doing other things, I came back as 1st Brigade, 1st Cav Commander, and went from there to Washington, D.C., and I liked it so much that I volunteered twice to go to Iraq out of Washington, D.C. Just the offer was there, and I did not like D.C. So,
I understand that sentiment just a little bit. So, sir, can you tell me a little bit about what the Retiree Council is and what their mission is and your position with the Retiree Council?
Yes, I shall. I'm going to refer back to some printed material I have here to make sure that I don't leave something out. So I'll read through this fairly quickly. The Retirement Council and the retirement program that we have here, it assists retired soldiers, surviving spouses, and their families with their retirement benefits and entitlements, updates them on major Army programs and initiatives, and seeks their involvement in installation and command programs. The Retiree Council, which is made up of 15 primary members and 4 associate members, is a council of retirees we do this in a strictly voluntary fashion. We do it because we want to do it. And as retired soldiers, I've been retired since 2011, and many of the members there have been retired for equal or more periods of time. So they know about the retiree community and what it is that we seek, and many times others that are not intimately familiar with it don't know what's available, and if it is, how to get connected with it. And we have this Retiree Appreciation Day we have coming up on the 25th and 26th of October, which is our big deal. To get organized and executed properly, and to get the word out to as many retirees as possible. And we're talking upwards of 20,000 retirees that are in our district here. It encompasses enough places where there would be a lot of retirees. And on our contact list, there are 20,000. And this is not just Army, this is all the services.
So it's the Fort Cavazos footprint handles retirees from all branches of service.
Correct.
And we do that right here on the installation?
Absolutely.
So can you tell me a little bit more about what's happening on Retiree Appreciation Day and what kind of services are provided that you guys know of from the council.
Okay. Command Sergeant Major retired Ron Cowan and I are the co-chairman, and I'm the chairman. And it is our mission to make sure that number one, that this Retiree Appreciation Day is properly executed, and it is not just something that is some local idea that came up with. It is a military program. It is an Army program, and it is because this is the predominant Army post here. We include all of the different services. The Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, any armed uniform service are a member or can come here and avail themselves of the things that we have. This Appreciation Day is going to be centered around Cerdamsie, better known as Carl R. Darnell Hospital, and that is where all of the main things are going to happen. All the kiosks, all the most of the services will be there. There are some services that will be in their normal offices, but those are published as to where they are, and those are things like getting ID cards will be at the standing ID card office, which is already here. Okay. But they'll be open on Saturday specifically to serve veterans or retirees. And also things like getting wills at the legal office, bringing all their business over here, just like bringing all the ID card business over here, would not be good. It would just cause more problems than it would solve. But those offices will be open for that. Along with, I'm going to flip through here and come out with some other things that are out there. We've got Medicare enrollment, TRICARE for Life. Any questions on that? There will be people here to answer that. Reporting death of a retired service member. There's information on that. There's a retirement services office here that's in the ID card section, but that individual that runs that is going to be here as well, so he can answer questions because that is an office that is manned daily on here, and if people know that that's there, if there is a retirement issue or they're a retiree and they want to get something done and they're going, I haven't been to Fort Cavazos for 2 decades. I don't know where anything is. Where do I go? The Retirement Services Office can help out, and they're right where the ID card office is.
What are some of the more common issues that you've noticed that come up with retirees that is important that could possibly get handled at this retirement appreciation?
I'll say the big thing is ID cards. ID cards are always a thing, and depending on what your circumstances are, sometimes they need to be reissued soon, or if you had done recently, it's 10 years from now or some such. But there's a lot of folks here that maybe live in remote places, like they're up in North Texas, up in the Panhandle, or somewhere. As I mentioned, we have a very large area that we service, and rolling into Fort Cavazos is not a normal thing for them. So their ID card may well be expired, and they want to get it back in the groove. Then this is where they can do it, and it can happen here, and will happen while they're here. So
how important is it that Fort Cavazos hosts this Retiree Appreciation Day, and how important is it that we continue to do that?
As we discussed, there is a huge population out there. We have 20,000 people on the rolls now. Of those people who have already been contacted by email, the email that we had from maybe 20 years ago, if there was even email back then, perhaps it's not there, and perhaps we're sending it to an email that no longer exists. So now they don't know, because if they're not around this area here, and they don't hear it through the various military service organizations out here, like the American Legion and VFW and things like that, they probably wouldn't know. That's why this podcast is so important, and we can get that out. And if we can just get the word out that if you get on the Fort Cavazos Garrison website and scroll through the tabs, you will find the 9-page newsletter that was released over a week ago. That is out there, and I have it here, and it actually explains pretty much everything. If somebody's got a question, it's explained. If somebody needs to contact someone, it's in here with that, and that usually funnels into the Retiree Services Office. And they're the ones that can then give that retiree information on things.
Okay, so if I'm a recent retiree or I've been out in the wild for a little while, and I'm not too familiar with how to get in touch with you guys on the council or Fort Cavazos Retirement Service Office, I can find that information on the Fort Cavazos website, right?
Correct.
Awesome. So can you tell me about any other events that are coming up that the Retiree Council has their hands in?
Yes, we are doing a couple of other things, and one of them is bingo the night before, so that would be on Friday, and that's explained in the newsletter as well. That'll be in there, and a couple of other things is there is going to be a horse detachment demonstration out where the horse detachment is by the main gate, and there is also going to be a tour at the museum that we have out by the front gate as well, National Mounted Warfare Museum, and that is especially going to be open for retirees that are interested in looking at that museum. It opens, it's having its grand opening on the 18th of this month, September, and so they'll be rocking and rolling by the time October comes around, and the director there is looking forward to taking care of any retirees that show up there and want to look around. It used to be a big cavernous empty building, and now it is full of fantastic displays of Fort Cavazos and the units that are in it.
That sounds like it's going to be some fun. I'm going to take it backtrack just a little bit here. More about your position on the council or just being involved. What inspired you to get involved with the Retiree Council? Why is it important to you?
I was asked to be the chairman of the council a couple of weeks ago, and I always like to give back, especially to service members, former service members, and anybody associated with the military. And it was my honor. It was my honor to be a part of this, and I'm very honored that I was asked to be on the council. And we will be discussing things with our co-chair, Command Sergeant Major, retired, Ron Cowan, and he and I both came on board at the same time, and we're both fired up to do our level best for our retirees. We want to be able to get the word out to people that for some reason are disconnected from Fort Cavazos. They may not even know the name of the fort changed, and they may not know that there's a website they can go to. There's a Corps website, there's a Garrison website, all the units have websites, so a place where they can go, hey, you know, my ID card's been out of sequence there for the last 15 years, you know, maybe I ought to go down there, maybe I'll see you know, Joe or Susan or something like this in my old unit, or, you know, I don't know. So maybe I'll just give it a shot. And so, you know, we want to get the word out.
Well, General Ryan, I really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day and away from the Retiree Council to come onto the Great Big Podcast to talk about what you guys are getting involved with. Again, thank you so much.
Country music's hit maker is back. Cole Swindell, live in concert. Saturday, September 28th, Phantom Warrior Stadium on Fort Cavazos. With special guest, comedian Adam Yinser. A free show for DoD ID card holders. Only at Phantom Warrior Stadium, Fort Cavazos. Don't miss this free show.
And welcome back to the Great Big Podcast, where we're talking today about the Retiree Council and highlighting some of the services that Fort Cavazos has for retirees. My next guest today, Sergeant Major. Please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your Army story.
Awesome. Well, first of all, thanks for having us. All right, we appreciate being here and helping to spread the word about the Retiree Council. My name is Ron Cowan, retired Command Sergeant Major. Came in the Army as a tanker for Desert Shield, Desert Storm. and quickly saw that that wasn't what I wanted to be, because it was just a lot of maintenance, great during Desert Storm. So I changed my mind and went to Air Defense Artillery. From there, I decided I don't like motor pools, so I chose the light life and went to the 25th Infantry Division. From there, I went to the 82nd, 101st. I kind of did the whole East Coast tour. So serving under the 18th Airborne Corps with the 24th when it was back then, 101st, 82nd, 10th Mountain. Of course, I ended up, when I popped out to Hawaii too, like I said, ended up retiring out of Fort Sill, Oklahoma. My biggest accomplishment to me was serving in the 82nd Airborne Division as a first sergeant for 5 years. So 5 straight years of OIF and OEF. Didn't know how to be a garrison first sergeant, if you couldn't call it.
Definitely field soldier.
Field soldier had it kind of easy to a certain extent, but that's okay. Stayed in 30 years. I actually retired out of Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Ended up at Fort Sill, Oklahoma because if you remember the BRAC reception integration program that came in, and we had to put all the fires together, maneuvers and stuff, things like that. So graduated out of the Army Rangers Academy, class 58. I got chosen to move the Air Defense Artillery branch to Fort Sill and to grow Fort Sill. And I had no clue of how that level of Army worked. Not a clue, but I had to figure it out fast because we had like 1 year
to get the job done. Understood.
So the education was huge and it was fast, and I appreciated it. Of course, sergeant majors do kick and scream at times, okay? And that was one of the times where we went in that way. And I ended up just learning a lot about how the big Army works, because I was basically on the ground my whole life, so which is not a problem. We're jumping out of aircraft. So, which is not an issue, but it's just learning the other side of the Army and how we maneuver on a large scale, okay? And that's where I ended up retiring out of Fort Sill. I did have a brigade, 2 brigades, and then I ended up, 2 battalions, 2 brigades, and then I backed up as a regimental command sergeant major while he was gone for a little while, and then I stepped down and retired. And that's how I finished my career.
So that's a pretty storied career, a lot of big responsibilities, some good leadership roles in there. That's really admirable. So can you tell us a little bit about the Retiree Council and what the mission is for the Retiree Council?
So my point of view, the Retiree Council is the voice for retirees for Fort Cavazos, surrounding areas. So we cover about 107 counties, and I think our main mission is to understand or to let the green suiters know, the main force know that this is the issues we may have, all right? Because, once you take off that uniform, it's a big transition. It's bigger than what you think until you do it. And it doesn't matter to me at what level you did it from specialist to command sergeant major. There's a lot of things you really don't understand what you're getting into. You just want to sign those papers, get your DD-214,
and get moving,
and move out, right? So, and I understand that. But once you get into that retiree vision of that mode right there, you tend to back away and not be kept informed. Even though there's a lot of information out there, you still kind of be like, I don't think it'll affect me. And it does affect you, and it affects your family. So I think our thing is being the voice for those retirees. I think it's also a great thing to help with the recruiting, because some retirees feel as though it's not many, but some feel as though when they retire, they're not wanted anymore in the military, and a lot of retirees have sons and daughters. We're talking about the recruiting picture. I think if we really take care of the retirees throughout the rest of their life and their spouses, then that'll help grow the force that way and keep people, to retire in the Army, because all of us came in not wanting to retire. So all of those who retired did not want to retire. We just want to do like a 3 to 4 year time and go back to whatever we thought was life.
Well, I know exactly what you mean. Okay. I thought I was going to do 4 and go away.
Yes, sir. So, yeah. And then you end up like, wow, I'm here. I never thought I'd be a command sergeant major either, So I never thought I would jump out of aircraft. I never thought I would do all the things that I've done, be a drill sergeant. So I think General Ryan and myself, we're We're very passionate people. We were passionate soldiers. Because to me, once you get over 20 years in the Army, it's all about passion. You know, it's not about, oh, I got to wake up and do PT. It's like, okay, it's time to get up. Let's go.
Now I'm really here because I want to be here.
So
Okay.
So so it's just, even when you retire, you still have a lot of passion. And I think that me and him just joined this committee and got nominated to these as a co-chair and a chair. And I think we'll be a great, I still say a command team, but to help out our retirees, because we have passion for everybody. Even in our civilian jobs, we have passions and we volunteer. So I think it's just carrying over, to helping, military always, and others as we come along.
Okay. So you briefly mentioned something that I think is kind of important, is that you said once you're retired, sometimes you kind of back away and you lose out on that information. What is some of that information that you think some of those guys who have backed away and they're not as connected anymore, what's some of that information that you think is important they might want to know?
I think what's important is, one thing is the medical part, okay, and knowing what agency is taking care of you at the time, or if TRICARE is changing agencies at the time. Because if you're not connected, you're not constantly on the internet, you really don't know. So I think another thing is, about the ID cards. I think ID cards are important to keep that up to date so you can continue to get on and off posts, I think wills, power of attorneys, things change, life changes for people once they retire, and if you don't keep up with it, you'll have a will that you did when you were a staff sergeant or sergeant,
right?
And now there's 20 years later, and all that has changed.
Yeah, things are outdated.
And things are outdated. Yeah. Yes, sir. So I think those are like the key things to me for retirees to keep their nose to the grind and understand and keep their eyes open.
Okay. So can you talk to me about what different services and other things that will be provided at the upcoming Retiree Appreciation Day?
So
like how does that all go down?
Okay, so basically, it's the 49th annual Retiree Appreciation Day, all right? And to me, it's a key event for retiree counselors, all right? I think it's that one time a year we can try to get many people together to get their services taken care of for that 1 or 2 days, okay? Instead of some people, they may go away, have to come back for paperwork, or, a lot of people are aged, so they're not too much familiar with the internet, and they'd rather do it in person.
Right.
Because they may have retired 10 to 20 years ago.
Okay, that's fair.
So it helps some to get back, to first of all, camaraderie was one thing. Soldier for life, I think it brings that to forefront. Because if you are a soldier for life, then you can take care of yourself. And going to this Retiree Appreciation Day, you can kind of meet old friends, meet somebody who you've never even known, make better connections, to stay up to date with what's going on, and just enjoy other military people who've lived the same life you've lived, no matter what branch they were in. So some of the events that'll take place, we're trying to get it together as a good gathering. Like certain divisions, have events, have alumni associations, and they have events during it, once a year. I think, Soldier for Life should do the same thing, because everybody was a soldier at one point. And some people might have not been on those divisions that do that consistently, or not close to where they can do that. So if we're all in the same state, it shouldn't be too hard to get together. Friday, we're going to have a golf tournament, a retiree golf tournament. And I know most of us think that we can play golf, just like we thought we were good soldiers. So I think it'll be a fun event, and it'll be great camaraderie there. We'll also have legal assistance available that day from like 09 to 1600.
Okay.
Okay, so you can come in on a Friday. There's things for you to do. Okay. We'll have they'll get to go to a retirement ceremony at the Lone Star Conference Center from 11 to 12. And then around 17:30, we're going to have like a bingo social event, okay? And you got to RSV so we can know what numbers that are going to be there. So I think we're going to turn that into like, you're going to be playing bingo, and you can also socialize, okay? So another great camaraderie event that the council has come up with that they haven't done in a couple of years.
Okay.
And we're just trying to get back to, being friends and sharing our stories or our lives. So then we come into Saturday. And on Saturday, we're going to start off with, breakfast, coffee and donuts at Credamcy. We'll also have an opening event there. And we'll kind of thank people for being there, give out a couple of awards, volunteer of the year for the council. Then we'll have a kind of what we call a country fair, health fair. So Credamcy is going to have an event where they have different stations set up and try to help you knowledge what, the Genesis, the MHS programs, simple as, the medicine drop box. Instead of sitting there at the Clear Creek or any other facility waiting for your medicine, you can call in and get it put in the drop box, and you can just go and pick it up.
Just like the Amazon boxes,
Just
walk
like
up,
exactly,
pop it open, and grab your stuff.
Exactly. So I think that'll help out a lot of people.
Especially those on the move all the time.
Especially-
Everybody's on the go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Especially the retirees that have to work still. They're still working. Don't have to work. They still work. And then other programs that they can tell what's going to change or get people signed up. We want to have legal. We want to have different stations, VFWs, if they want to join a VFW or American Legion. So we'll have that there also for them. Now we'll have deer ID cards and deers, which in January of 2026 they'll phase out the blue-green ID cards. So the blue retiree ID cards.
Right.
So it's to their benefit to come. They still have to make an appointment, for that Saturday. But they can come Friday and Saturday and come and get that taken care of. Because I haven't changed mine yet. And I'm right here next to Fort Cavazos. So,
I'm right in there in that boat, too.
so, yeah, I'm going to do that. And the important thing is, they also have legal assistance. Like I say, power of attorneys, wills, or anything they need help with. Okay. Another important event, I think, is they'll have immunization shots going on at the same time in the hospital. And they'll have, the flu shots and things like that, the boosters that they need should be available. They'll have lunches at Blackjack Warrior Restaurant. And then they get to go to eat at a defect again. I have not eaten at a defect since I retired. And I'm right here in Fort Cavazos.
Blackjack's a pretty nice defect, if I do say so myself. At least compared to what they looked like when I was private, the place is like 5 stars. It's crazy.
Exactly. So they get to come back to the Army, and I think that's a big thing for retirees, is to still feel like they're part of the organization that they spent their lives, or most of their lives, what they did, and they volunteered to do it.
Yeah, that connection matters.
And that the connection matters, and we're spending a lot of time, not so much on social media, but we're trying to get the word out by word of mouth. Okay, we got a lot of these VFW American Legion organizations around here that we're handing things out to, and to chambers and local places, Rotary clubs. We're trying to get the word out that way first, also at the same time as we're doing social media, so that we can get more people to come and appreciate what's going on. And then I think we'll have the horse detachment there also Saturday, so that'll be a good thing to watch and see. But it's just a day to relax, have fun, and talk to your former battle buddies. Even though they may have served at Fort Sill and you were at Fort Bragg,
right.
It's still your battle buddy.
Do you have any advice for any of these guys that are just about to hang up the uniform? They're about to be new retirees. Do you have any advice that could set them up for success so that they're maybe not in the boat where they have to depend on, maybe one day a year or something like that?
I would say the biggest thing is do not unplug from the Retiree Council or the services of retirees. Okay, because some people unplug, right, just like I did. And I don't think that's a good thing. I think you need to stay connected to the RSO, a retiree service officer. Make sure that they have a good email for you. And that's just an easy way, because everybody wants to go home, take off the uniform and say, I'm did done. It, and I'm done. And I understand that. But at least make sure that the RSO or the Retiree Council has your contact information. Okay. That would be to me, that would be my best advice, to stay plugged. You don't have to come to any event. You don't have to just stay plugged so you know what's going on for your family's future.
Well, Sergeant Major, thank you again for your time. Thank you for talking to us about the Retiree Council and what you guys do out there. Back to you guys.
I'm Sean Davis with your Garrison Public Affairs Office, and this is On Track with your Fort Cavazos Minute. We've got everything you need to stay informed and connected. First up, the 79th Street Gate will be closed starting Sunday. The gate will remain closed until September 27th for railroad crossing repairs. During this time, commuters should use Clear Creek, Santa Fe, or Bernie Beck Gates for access. Be sure to plan ahead for any delays. Next, applications for Santa's Workshop are open until October 15th. Eligible active duty, active guard, and reserve service members can apply. This is for those stationed at Fort Cavazos with children aged 6 months to 12 years. Check the show notes for more details on how to apply for that. Up next, don't miss the Rock the Brave Military Family Fest. The event takes place on September 28th at Phantom Warrior Stadium. You can enjoy food, games, and celebrity appearances throughout the day. Festivities will kick off at 2 p.m. and it's free for all DoD ID card holders. It's an event you don't want to miss. Finally, first-time commissary Click-to-Go users can save $15 on their first $75 order. This special offer runs through October 27th at Fort Cavazos commissaries. Sign up online or visit the demonstration tables at the Clear Creek and Warrior Way commissaries to learn more. That's all for your Fort Cavazos Minute. Stay tuned for more updates and information to keep you on track.
And welcome back to the Great Big Podcast. This week, I'd like to introduce a new face that you're going to be seeing a lot more. Derica, how about you introduce yourself to everybody?
Okay. Hi, I'm Derica Upshaw. I am a new member of the Fort Cavazos Public Affairs, and you'll see more of me here on the Great Big Podcast, doing the editing on the panel and so much more. Can't wait to share the great news of Fort Cavazos with you all.
So I had a good time today learning about the different things that the Retiree Council does and the different things they're involved with, highlighting this Retiree Appreciation Day coming up. It's the 25th of October and the 26th.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great day for retirees to get together and just fellowship with each other, talk about the old days with each other. You know, they love to do it. I love to hear the stories, so I can't even wait to go and participate with them and just, you know, get to hear all their stories and just thank them for their service. So it's going to be great.
Yeah, if you got one thing right, it's us old Army guys do love to tell old war stories. So that's gonna be good. But no, I think it's great that we're gonna be able to have, you know, all these retirees from across all the different branches come on post, be able to take care of some of the things that they got to take care of, and to kind of keep their life in order, so that way, you know, God forbid anything does happen, everything's taken care of. What are some of the other things going on? What do you got going on this weekend?
Oh, well, this weekend we got soccer games going on, and then we have my daughter's birthday.
All right.
Going to be turning 6 years old this weekend, so we got to celebrate. I don't know what she want to do, but we're going to hope that it's not too expensive because she has big ideas.
Well, I know that for us, it's going to be a moment of silence coming up here in observance of Patriot Day. I know that's affected a lot of folks. Me, myself, is one of the biggest reasons I joined the Army. But outside of that, this weekend, I'll probably be out there barbecuing myself. One of the last few times I can before it gets too cold, and just spending that extra time with the family. So that's going to be great.
Oh, yeah. Barbecue is always great. I mean, you're in Texas. What else you going to do?
Well, yeah, that's true. All right. Well, thanks for joining us on this week's episode of the Great Big Podcast. Until next time.